and you get older and eventually you get a job. Who knows by the time you're old enough to get a job, Gunner? They might even make it illegal to be a Christian. As it is, they're trying to shut down churches. So you need to really pray for our country that God would give us revival. In other words, people would fall in love with Jesus by the thousands and thousands and thousands.
But if being a Christian becomes illegal, I'll pretend I'm not Christian, and then I'll pray inside that won't happen
Well,
again.
Jesus said that if you're ashamed of me and you deny me before men, I will deny you before the Father. So what he's saying is he doesn't want you to pretend you're not a Christian. He wants you to boldly proclaim or to say that Jesus Christ is Lord. Even if you have to go to jail, Gunner. People in other countries say Jesus is Lord, and guess what happens to them?
What?
They get their heads cut off, or they get their eyes poked out, or their tongues cut out, because all throughout the world Christians are being killed. And people boldly say that Jesus is my Lord and I love Jesus. And because of it, when people get killed, other people, like sometimes the people that kill them, will see how much these people loved God and the joy that they had, and all of a sudden they become Christians. The same people that killed the Christians. Now, remember Paul in the Bible?
Yeah.
He used to kill Christians left and right. His name was Saul at that time. And he would have Christians delivered to Nero, who would light up Christians to burn the Colosseums at night for light. He would actually set Christians, men, women, and children, on fire as they were tied to posts. And he would feed them to lions. And the Christians would actually sing praise songs to Jesus. They didn't hide the fact that they were Christian. They shouted all the more loudly that they were Christian and they loved Jesus. And they would die. But you know what? They would wake up, and guess where they would wake up?
In heaven.
Yes.
In heaven.
So you never want to hide the fact that you're a Christian, Gunner. You can be careful. You don't have to go out there and try to pick fights with people. But if somebody asks you, are you a Christian? You're supposed to proudly proclaim, yes, I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. Why aren't you?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
Yeah, you can ask them, why aren't you a Christian? He died for you so you could go to heaven. And a lot of people believe that, Gunner. Millions and millions of people love Jesus. But there are millions and millions of people that don't.
Well, why?
Huh?
Why? It's so bad.
And the Bible even says that. Most people go to hell, Gunner. Antigua, now that you're awake. Most people go to hell.
Some people are already in hell that don't love Jesus.
Yeah, the Bible says broad and wide is the path that leads to destruction. There's a path that there's only two paths. There's one that's great, big, and wide, and most people are on it, and it leads to destruction or to hell. And straight and narrow is the path. Destruction is like death. Straight and narrow is the path that leads to everlasting righteousness, and that's to Jesus. And there's only one path, and Jesus is that path. And he's also the door at the end of that path that lets you into heaven. He says he's the only door. So I know that you know this, guys, but we have to really prepare ourselves as people come against Christians that we're going to love Jesus no matter what. Because they're going to try to stop us, but they can't, because he's already in our hearts. Yeah. There may come a day where we have to die because of our beliefs. It happens all the time in other countries. It's happened here too. There was a school that these boys went in and they had guns, and they said to the students, you know, are you a Christian? And if they said yes, they would shoot them. And they had this one girl down on her knees, and she said she was a Christian, and they said to her, say that you're not a Christian or we're going to kill you. And she said, no, I won't. And they shot her in the head and killed her.
That's sad.
It is sad.
That's sad.
Just because people love Jesus, people hate Christians. Because people hated Jesus.
Maybe we could break their neck if they said if they asked if we love Jesus, because
Well, if they allowed police to work in the schools, there would have been somebody there armed with a gun that could have responded and perhaps shot those people before they killed all those kids. But the schools, unfortunately, most of them don't love Jesus, and they don't allow people to be in there to protect the children. And so the children are they're just sitting ducks. Sitting ducks means you're just out there and there's no protection for you. The teachers aren't allowed to carry guns. So if some crazy man comes in there with a gun, he can kill all the kids he wants. There's nobody to stop him, by the time the police get there. So that's why we fight so hard for what's called our Second Amendment. That is the right for us to carry guns and have guns in our homes to protect ourselves. And the people like Joe Biden and the Democrats, a lot of them want to take away a lot of our guns. Maybe not all of them right now, but eventually, when a country turns totally socialist, right now we're a republic and we're allowed to carry guns. But in other countries, when they turn socialist, they take away all the people's guns and they make it to where the government rules the people. Right now, the people rule the government, but that's starting to change. And Donald Trump is trying to help us to where the people still have the strength and they can make the government cooperate and do what's right. But there are people that hate Donald Trump and hate Christians and hate conservative Republicans, and they're trying to make us lose control of the country. And they would shut down the churches if they could. It's just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
why is it crazy?
That's our neighbor's husband, Leonard. Oh no, I gotta get slimed.
What did you say?
I said I gotta get slimed by the dog.
Sad.
What?
He's gotta get slimed again.
Yeah.
Why do dogs slobber? Also didn't slobber.
Oh, Nova slobbers.
Oh, I hate that.
Why do you hate it?
Don't you? And he gets a great big chunks of slobber on you. Big boogers.
Those
Yeah,
aren't boogers.
they look like boogers.
They look like boogers.
No, they're just slimy slime.
I drive back up home.
Was this really necessary for me to have to get a yellow slip? Isn't that stupid? Do they like long lines? We didn't have any mail. It wouldn't have been very hard just to stick this in
I
there.
know.
We had three junk advertisements. That was it.
Why are you going back?
We're at the house, sweetie.
Why are we at the house?
Because we're all done, and you took a little nap.